Well, good morning. Frank Silvestro here. Good to see you guys. And I came out for my morning walk here. And I figured I'd give you something motivational this morning because I felt motivational. So, yep. So I came out and I usually come out to this ball field, baseball field, because to me it sort of makes this analogy about life and playing a game, because we're always playing a game. And very interesting, I just passed up this, the bleachers, right? So here's the bleachers here, and you could be in the bleachers of life, or you could be in the game, and right now I'm locked out of the game. Well, there is no game right there. But this is what I wanted to talk to you about is definitely life. Life is a game, no matter what you're playing. You're always playing a game, whether it's good or sometimes bad, and you gotta continue. You have to create a game for yourself where it's positive. Funny enough, even a person who's sick and trying to get better is playing a game. And all games have freedoms, they have barriers, and they have goals. I mean, you could play games that are very up the scale, which means they're very, very positive, very pro-survival. Or you could play games that are very down the scale. Like a criminal is playing a game too. But he's playing his own game, whatever that is. But it's not a very positive one, is it? No, it's not. So the point is, we're all playing a game in some way, okay? Because we all have to have a game. Now, it's very important. It's something that kind of came up this morning that I was thinking about, and I was commenting on this morning. Is if people don't put a goal out there for themselves, like go to a mountain, I'll make an analogy, then the game will become problems. The game will become problems because there's nothing out there. There's nothing you're putting out there to go towards. So since everyone will have a game no matter what they pick, they'll pick the game of problems because they have to have some barriers. They have to have some things to overcome, so the game becomes problems. So you'll see a lot of people who have a lot of problems. That's because they have no game that they're putting out there for themselves. You really have to put out there, go for the mountain. Go out there and go for the mountain. Okay? And here's the other thing I want to make about this. If you're traveling towards that mountain, let's turn around here. If you're traveling towards that mountain, along the way, you're going to probably run into a forest of some sort on your way to that mountain. All right? And sometimes as you're walking through that forest, you're going to lose sight of the mountain. You will. It's just what happened. This is what happens in life too. You sometimes will lose sight of the mountain. However, you don't forget that the mountain is there, and you keep moving towards that mountain. You don't forget that, I'm going someplace, I'm going to that mountain, and I keep moving, whether the mountain is seen or not. And you know the direction the mountain is in. So you keep moving. Will the trees also, scrape you along the way so you get hurt? And, probably. Life is that way. Will there, be a tree in the way, maybe that you have to kind of go around, or you have to figure out how to get around because it's laying across your path? Yeah, probably. Okay, so what? So you do it. So you figure out how to get around the tree. Okay, so you got scraped by a limb on a tree. Okay, maybe you got, wrapped in the head or whatever. Okay, fine. Welcome to life. This is the way life works. But you keep moving. And the other part of it is, you can also admire. You can also admire the forest, with the animals and everything else, and and sit there and admire the raccoons and whatever, and stop for a moment. But hopefully you don't set up camp with the raccoons because they're so cute, and forget about your goal. You don't do that. You just keep going for your goal. Like, okay, good. You can admire things along the way, and there are lots of shiny objects, but you keep going. Just keep going. All right? You never forget about that. All right? That makes sense? And it's funny. Here's another thing is that, and there are people who actually reach that mountain, and which you should. They reach that mountain, and then the game changes. Like, let's say that mountain is $1 million in the bank. Well, let's just say, I don't know what I'm just giving you an arbitrary thing, right? Let's say that's $1 million in the bank. The game all of a sudden becomes not making the $1 million, but now it becomes protecting the $1 million. Okay, here, what am I gonna do with it? Okay, get away from my money. I'm not gonna spend money. I'm not gonna do this. And it's still a game, but the game changes. It changes to something else. So at that point, the best thing to do is you create another game. Okay, so now how am I going to make 10 million? And you go for the 10 million. I was talking to this gentleman the other day who was very, very wealthy. I was consulting with him, very wealthy individual. And I don't know, the guy had a $35,000 Rolex on or something like that. He was telling me how anxious he was, he worries, all these emotions that are just like, wow. I mean, he's an older man, but okay, fine. But and he had some insurance business and he sold it off, and the guy's very well off. And I looked at this guy and I was like, wow, he's got no game anymore. No game. And funny enough, he even said to me, I worry more that I have nothing to worry about than I did when I had something. And he was right. He was absolutely right. He didn't create another game for himself. So his game is now, I don't know, I'm going to now wait until I die. I was in the 70s, but I'm going to wait until I die or something. So I'm helping out the guy. But anyway, it's very fascinating. So these are some of these thoughts that came across my mind that, you're going to play a game. This is to sum it up. You're going to play a game no matter what. Okay? So, you might as well play a game that's positive and full of creation. That's the key. It's got to be full of creation. Create. The bigger the game, the bigger the barriers, the bigger the goals, but the bigger the freedom that you get to. Okay? And happiness has to do with overcoming those barriers in order to get to your goal. That's what happiness is. So if you want to be happy, put a big goal out there, work your ass off, and get through the barriers and get there. It doesn't matter how big they are or how far out it is. Just do it. Just do it. Just get out there and do it. It doesn't matter. And give yourself some little successes along the way, some wins. You don't have to conquer the whole mountain in one shot. You don't have to do that. Just a little bit at a time. If you had a pick and you were picking at this mountain, you would pick at it one rock at a time. Okay, it would take you a long time, but nevertheless, you would eventually take this mountain down to nothing if you continually picked at it. And that's what you have to do for your goals. So, there are barriers along the way, and there are stops, and there are people who stop you, and there are other junk along the way. But so what? So what? You just keep going, and don't take and here's the other point is, don't take your attention off the goal. Because that which we make important and put our attention on becomes real. That's what it is. If you put your attention on problems, the problems become big and real. If you put your attention on the goal and not the problems, then the goal becomes big and real. So you have to keep your attention on the goal, not the problems. Okay? So make the goal big and real and solid, and there it is. That's what you do. All right? So, love you guys for watching. That was my inspirational thought for the day. So, run with it and let me know of your successes and what you got out of this, and if you got something out of it and any realizations you had, I would want to know about it. Okay? Because I feed off of that stuff. When people win, and really have successes off of my communication, then it's wonderful. Okay? Thanks for watching. See you soon.